So, what is going on, guys? I am BlackOpsAmazing. Welcome back to another zombies video. Now, in Classified, as I'm sure you know, there are plenty of ciphers and messages that you can find, and the ones that we have found and solved so far I have made videos of on the channel. They are pretty interesting. We had a letter from Dempsey where he talks about him dying. We have messages from people who worked at the Pentagon and other things like that. And like I said, I've done videos of all of these on my channel, but what I didn't know, as I discovered from just randomly scrolling through the COD Zombies Reddit, is that there are also letters in here as well. There are classified documents. In fact, there are 3 of them, along with a classified letter, that give us some pretty interesting information. Now, I didn't know about these. I haven't seen anyone else make videos on these letters, and having read through them, 2 out of the 3 letters aren't really very interesting, and you'll actually find that for quite a few of the ciphers in Black Ops 4. Treyarch have added in some that aren't really too interesting to us. They're pretty boring. To be honest, it wouldn't really make a difference if they weren't in the game. You know, if you're going to add Easter eggs in like this, ciphers that take time to decode, at least make them worthwhile. In my opinion, some of them aren't. However, one of these documents is actually important to us. It reveals some things that we've had questions to for a long time, like where exactly the Ultimus characters got the lunar lander from in Kino to get to Ascension, and also why Richtofen was wearing a spacesuit in the original Ascension. And these documents highlight these questions that we've had for years. So, like I said, there are 3 documents in total. 2 of them are really not very interesting. However, the third one is, this is it up on screen now, and once you solve it, it says classified the 18th of July 1957. Memorandum for Colonel Sawyer. Subject: report from Chief Operative, Operation Dissension. Number 1. A new drop from an operative inside of the Ascension Group confirms the DoD and CIA suspicions. The Ascension Group have successfully completed work on a function matter transference device, the MPD. Operatives confirms Dr. Gersh oversaw the project. Number 2. As of now, their teleportation tests have been limited in scope. No human testing currently. Furthest they've gone thus far is trials involving monkeys, which were successful. Number 3. In addition, Operative confirms another suspicion. Recovered documents prove that Richtofen did in fact make a deal with the Soviets in 1945. We have not nailed an exact date, but we can confirm it was around the time we made the deal for Operation Stapler. Looks like you were right, Richtofen played us both. And number 4, one of the documents seized detailed Richtofen's provisions. A list of materials he desired expressly stipulated in his agreement with the Soviets, and a few on this list matched the one he delivered to us. However, there were a few unique standouts of interest. 1 pet monkey, 1 recording of Igor Stravinsky's The Rite of Spring, 1 cosmonaut spacesuit and 1 lunar lander, coordinates to be specified, 1 miniature replica of St. Basil's Cathedral, 1 Faberge egg yolk, and 1 bottle of Stalin's vodka to see what all of this fuss is about. Not sure what to make of all of that. Purnell. So, as we know, during 1945, coming towards the end of Group 935's reign, Richtofen, as he was on his journey to take control of the zombies, before all of this, he made a deal with the Pentagon, with the US. This deal was called Operation Stapler, where Richtofen would provide the US with knowledge of Group 935's work, and in return, the US would do a few favours for Richtofen. But as this letter tells us, Richtofen also made the exact same deal with Russia, or the Ascension Group. He played them both. He gave the exact same information to both the Pentagon and the Ascension Group. He played them in order to get items from them. And as we see, some of these items that Richtofen requested from the Ascension Group was a spacesuit, specifically a cosmonaut spacesuit, and a lunar lander, and he says coordinates to be specified. And as we know, up until now, we've never known exactly how they got the lunar lander from Kino der Toten to Ascension, and this reveals it. He got that lunar lander from the Ascension Group prior to that map. And also, this kind of explains why Richtofen was wearing a spacesuit in Ascension. Again, it was an item he requested from the Ascension Group. He got it from them, although it doesn't tell us still why Richtofen needed it. It tells us they gave him one, but why would Richtofen need a cosmonaut spacesuit? We still aren't really told. The only reason I could think is because he was using it to travel to Moon to work on Griffin Station, but surely they would have had their own spacesuits. Well, in fact, they did. Group 935 had their own spacesuits, so Why Richtofen would need a cosmonaut suit is still a little bit unclear, but at least we know how he got it. If you guys have any ideas, let me know in the comment section below. And then, like, it also says he wanted one pet monkey. Could that monkey be somehow involved with the monkey bomb? And he requested a few other things as well, but that is extremely interesting. Now, like I said, there's also a letter in classified. It is from Eisenhower and it says March 11th, 1946 to General Staff. Over the coming weeks, you will see many new faces in and around the facility. Some of the men will be your colleagues, some of them will be under your management, and some of them will even be your supervisor. These men may not be Americans, but that does not mean you should treat them as anything less. They are our fellow man, they are our equals. This great country was built on immigration, and those arriving over the coming weeks are the best and the brightest the world has ever known. Through the efforts of Operation Stapler, we have acquired dozens of scientists from the organisation known as Group 935. Many of you may be familiar with this organisation and will know that during the time of the war, it was aligned with the Axis power. However, just because they align with evil does not mean they stood for it. When Group 935 was formed in 1931, they described themselves as the pioneers of human discovery. They were an international organisation dedicated to advancing society, not for a single country, but the entire world. These are the men we work with now. While Group 935 may be gone, its work will live on through them. And armed with their knowledge, we as a country can lead the world in an effort to advance the human condition. They are to be welcomed warmly, they are to be treated with respect, they are to be listened to and learn from. The war may be over, but a new frontier awaits on the horizon. With the help of these scientists, we will be the first to reach it. Dwight D. Eisenhower, Army Chief of Staff. So you can see that it is a letter to the general staff working at the Pentagon telling them to welcome their new employees. Don't judge them because of who they worked with in the past. Group 935 did in fact join up with the Nazis, but as we know, this isn't what they wanted. Because of their lack of funding, because they had no money to do research, their only option was to join forces with the Nazis. They would provide them funding, and in return, Group 935 would provide them with weapons. We know that Richtofen wanted no part of this. Maxis, even though he made the deal, didn't really want it either, but since they needed funding, they didn't really have a choice. And as this letter says, don't judge them because they were joined up with the Axis power. Just because they were working with them doesn't mean they stood for it. So it's just saying basically to welcome them into the Pentagon. We've made a deal with Dr. Richtofen called Operation Stapler, where we're going to be taking in some of their Group 935 scientists. They're going to help us with our own inventions. So that's very interesting. Let me know your thoughts about this down in the comment section below. I promise this is all of these ciphers now in every single map that I've covered on this channel. As I said, and this is not to go on a rant or anything, but there are like 15 ciphers in 9. I've covered about 1 or 2 on this channel, simply because all of them right now are irrelevant. They really mean nothing to us. Whether in the future as we go on through maps we come back in time and we think, oh yeah, that meant something, but literally all of these ciphers are little messages that are in that map. Not only that, but Voyage, and as I said, a couple in Classified, which are a little bit different. They're just long, boring and irrelevant. Or it's just information we don't really need. They're not interesting to do with the storyline. But a lot of the ones in 9 are just about 3 or 4 letters long that right now don't really mean too much. And as Treyarch said before this game came out, there are going to be more Easter eggs in BO4 than we've ever had before, which is true. I think most of the reason for that is because we have 4 zombies maps. We've only ever really had 2 before. Of course there's more Easter eggs, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're better. I feel like with Black Ops 3, there were loads of ciphers and I can't remember a single one in there that wasn't uninteresting. And most of the Easter eggs in BO3 were memorable or actually really fun to do, whereas with Black Ops 4, a lot of the smaller Easter eggs are okay. Some of these steps on the main Easter eggs can be really annoying. I just don't feel like the Easter eggs are as fun as they were in BO3. But of course we've got DLC maps to go yet. DLC 1, from what we've heard already, sounds really, really fun. In fact, I'm really looking forward to it. It should come out in January sometime, so it's actually not that long to go. But I do think as time goes on and this Treyarch can just focus on one map at a time, I think the maps and the Easter eggs are going to become more interesting and, well, better as time goes on. Not only for that reason, also because we're learning more about the storyline as we're going on. Let me know your thoughts down below. Hopefully, as always, you have enjoyed. If you haven't know what to do, drop a like rating, make sure you are subscribed, and I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, goodbye.